Well, hey, how's it going? It's me, and I'm here. Wow, how about that? Just barely made it. Talking about racing to get my stuff together. Boy, I gotta tell you, uh, look like we got some buffering going on here. Don't know what that's about. I'll try and figure that out at another date. Um, but we'll see what's going on. It's caught me off guard. We'll see if we can get it together. So, anyway, um, I'm here this evening. I think I just want to. What's been on my mind is this flood out in Texas. I'm pretty sure everybody done seen it. Oh, hey, what's up, James? Uh, hey, Ronnie, how you doing this evening? I need to call you and ask you some questions. Hey, uh, remind me about that. Um, what's been really on my mind to talk about is that flood that went on. And my mind kind of scattered right now because I literally just had to beat feet to get here because I was transacting some business and it ran late and here I is. Now, if you want to talk about something else, let me know. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I will go into it. To that extent, I kind of wanted to talk about this flood and two things is the warnings that they were getting. I want to start off. So, just out of cordiality, how y'all doing? Everything good with y'all? Uh, Anything I need to know or can help with? Let me know. Just out of curiosity. Okay. Um, there is a bit of delay going on. I see that. Looks like it's a little more than normal. So we just grin and bear it, you know. But uh, yes, that flood was absolutely horrible. It was terrible. I mean, I watched some of the stories of the people, that was affected by it. And really, I felt like a gut punch because for those that don't know, this flood happened in the middle of the night while everybody was asleep. So when all the warnings were going off, it was middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning. And most of these people was knocked out, sleeping, chilling. And one takeaway from this is word has come out that the Weather Service agency offices were not manned. Hey, Carmen, they got these warnings out, but in some of the local Weather Service agencies, the offices, there were no coordinating forecasters. You know? And I was like, what? And it was due to those cuts. It was 600 cuts to NOAA and the Weather Service. And these were some of the people that would have been responding in these situations. Some of these warnings were not passed on because the relay, when you got a relay, one has to go to the next, to the next, to the next. There were gaps. Now, they're not willing to admit that there was anything going on. Let's look at one clip right quick of some of the storm and flooding and situation attached to it. Bear with it if you've already seen it. I'm not playing a lot of it because it's just bad. I may play this one guy's story. We'll find out. But let's just look at some of the flooding right quick.
The South San Gabriel River in Georgetown, looking east across Austin Avenue. Pretty devastating. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. Looking west on the South San Gabriel, Saturday morning, about 8:15.
This is normally a green field.
An unimaginable tragedy in Texas.
Hearing the screams, because you couldn't see anything, it was pitch black. Kids screaming, asking for help.
Historic flooding taking too many lives, destroying families and communities.
It's like mass destruction. It's like a third world war zone.
It's a horrible thing that took place. Absolutely horrible.
The Hill Country just starting to process its grief. The nonstop search for the missing continues.
I've got 2 babies at home, and there's people out there that they're missing their children or their family members, so I feel like it's the least I could do to help.
As recovery efforts begin.
As I've said every time I've been before you, please pray for our community.
Tonight, people across the world have Texas on their minds. Statewide, the death toll from flash flooding stands at 78. Dozens more are missing tonight. Families have shared photos of victims who've died, those who haven't yet been found, and those who survived. It includes Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner. They were best friends from Dallas, summer campers at Camp Mystic after just finishing the 2nd grade, both lost in the flood. The director of that camp, Dick Eastland, also died. He was trying to save campers, according to the Kerrville Daily Times. He was a father of 4. These are just some of the stories we will share tonight and in the coming days. The most devastating loss is in Kerr County. 68 people died there, 40 adults, 28 kids. We have gut-wrenching new pictures from after the water receded at Camp Mystic. That is that Christian summer camp for girls. It's right on the banks of the Guadalupe River. Bunks are scattered. There is mud all over the floors and the walls. 10 campers and 1 counselor are still missing tonight. Today, some returned to the camp. An Associated Press photographer was there as a young girl sobbed over what she saw. Aside from what happened in Kerr County Friday, 10 people died closer to Austin In Travis, Burnett, Kendall, Tom Green, and Williamson counties, people were swept away by flash flooding on Saturday.
Okay, I'm going to leave that at that. Hey, Charles, what's happening? I'm not going to show a bunch of it. It was so devastating. And if you saw a picture of that cabin and the bunks and everything and just everything strewn around, remember something. These kids and their chaperones, they were all asleep in the bed when that flood hit that cabin. They had not been warned at all. That is the takeaway, They had not been warned at all. They had an emergency warning, like, I believe that was about 1 o'clock in the morning. And earlier, a warning. But while these people were asleep, these kids were asleep, it is said, and you could see the water line in that cabin. The water line was near the ceiling in that cabin. I've seen some flooding to where it comes in the house. I had a flood at my house. And 3 feet easy. 3 feet? Yeah. Not flood water near the ceiling. Not in the middle of the night where it's pitch black. They're out at a camp site. Okay? This is a summer camp. There's no big well-lit parking lots and all that sort of stuff out there. No street lights. Ain't no streets. They out in the woods. Okay? It's pitch black. And this happened in the middle of the night. I cannot imagine how scared them kids was. And the ones that have not been found yet. They're up over 100 now as far as who have died. That number is over 100. And there's still, from what I understand, 17-ish that's still missing. That really got to me. Y'all know I was already feeling some kind of way Friday. I had this, y'all know how I was feeling about 4th of July, celebrating. Really? Yeah, get out of here. Anyway, but that's how I was feeling. And this happened Friday night. And I woke up to it Saturday morning, the reports coming in. And the more I heard the reports of what was actually happening, they were finding kids, women, people in trees. The floodwaters were up to 30 feet high. Think about that. That's 2 stories high. The floodwaters was up to 30 feet high. The news report said 26 feet within 45 minutes. Within 45 minutes to 26 feet. Wow. You know, whether y'all know it or not, I am a praying man. And I will be continually, that's a Trump word, praying for these folks. Let's check out some of the warnings that we've had about cutting FEMA or cutting the weather system in this way. There's a weather reporter, weather forecaster out of Florida, I think out of Miami or Tampa, Tampa area somewhere. And he has been sounding the alarm ever since this administration started with these cuts. He's been sounding the alarm big time. Let's take a moment, listen to some of what he's had to say prior to this incident.
It's going to turn. All right? The turn was never forecast to be on Sunday. The turn isn't even on Monday morning. The turn will come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, into Tuesday. Remember that? That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. Lots of people in Florida were concerned the hurricane was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you, it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year. Because of the cuts, the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country. Tonight and just about every other night of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, we are going to be tracking hurricanes like it's 1999. NOAA announced that starting on Monday, we would lose microwave scans from a trio of satellites that they operate jointly with the Department of Defense. Now, these microwave scans from the satellite allow us to peer under the clouds, especially important at night, because the infrared satellite images that we get at night are just too coarse, they're not detailed enough, and we miss potentially rapid intensification cycles or tightening of hurricanes, and obviously that leads to unpleasant surprises, potentially deadly surprises when it comes to forecasting and alerting people of the potential dangers of a hurricane. Now, add that to the fact that we've lost about 20%, just under 20% of the weather balloon data from the U.S. Due to staffing cuts at National Weather Service and NOAA. The threat that all research having to do with the physical properties of a hurricane and how we can understand them is under threat of being severely cut. And the fact that there are trained technicians which were furloughed or, we lost during the cuts of the 560 people that we've seen at NWS. Well, these trained technicians, amongst other things, can maintain radars, maintain aircraft. This type of data might be lost if the radars are down or if the hurricane aircraft cannot fly. Bottom line, we are on a time machine to the previous century, except this isn't a party and people could die.
Now, that's the warning. That is the warning. what are we going to do? There's going to be bad stuff happening. There's going to be bad stuff happening. Just thinking about the fact, and I'm not really going to play any of the clips of Trump and the stuff that he was saying, because, of course, he's not going to take any blame for any of this. He's not going to take any blame at all. So forget that. He ain't taking none of the blame. Remember when the wildfires was going on out in California? When those wildfires was going on, the Republicans, they blamed the fire chief because it was a woman. They blamed the mayor because she was a black woman. We're all gonna die. You know, if I was in Florida, I would probably be afraid too. Matter of fact, you know what? I would not be surprised if Indiana caught a hurricane this year and nobody told us. I mean, I'm inclined to go with what James said. We're all gonna die. Oh my goodness. But right now, as we speaking, North Carolina is going through the same thing. There's severe flooding in North Carolina right now. I mean, yeah. What was her name out west at her town hall? Yeah, she said it. We all gonna die. Fuck it. You know, we all gonna die. Yeah, don't worry about your Social Security. Don't worry about your health care. We all gonna die. If we take it from you, you ain't gonna need it anyway. Ain't no hurricanes coming to Indiana. Nope, not gonna. Hey, Charles. Hey, man. We ain't got nobody to warn us if it did. If it did, you know, ain't nobody there to say, hey, watch out. And not to take it so lightly, because, and the reason this really got to me is I'm ex-Navy. I am ex-Navy. Those of you that don't know, now you know. I was in the Navy, and I have seen some weather situations in the middle of the ocean where there's no light. There is absolutely no light at all out to sea in the middle of the night. You can hold your hand up in front of your face and you can't see it. That's how pitch black it is. Now, on a night that is absolutely clear, you can see a blanket of stars in the sky. But that is, you know, the exception. Typically, it is pitch black. And for this flood to hit all of these people, and again, here, let's look at one more clip of some of the stuff bear with me. I feel like I need to. I'm not going to show the worst stuff, but I feel like I need to show this.
It's going to turn. All right?
Not that one.
We couldn't do much. The water was coming so fast. It was gone. Everything was gone. And then we started seeing the cabins floating from the other RV parks, floating down the river. We started seeing cars with lights on and people honking inside their cars. And they just were floating away. And it was pitch black. We had 28 RVs parked in here. And they're all gone. Every single one of them is gone.
First they said, would you mind moving your RV?
Yes.
So that we can get in to help people. And within 5 minutes it changed from would you move your RV to get out of town.
Yeah.
So we got the dog, threw it in the truck, got my wife, and we literally just left with the clothes we had on our back.
When I woke up, the water was up to my 2 foot into my RV, and I grabbed my dog and my wallet, and I tried to get out of my RV, and a truck had me trapped. So I finally got out, and I just hear screaming, kids and the family, and
we heard ladies and children crying for help in the middle. 3 big trees right there. That's where they were staying.
I tried to swim over and had my dog, and some guy grabbed me out, and I tried to go help the family, and I couldn't get to him.
Lady was screaming,
I know.
help, help, help.
It
was pitch black. There was nothing we could do about it.
not just you.
And
We had over 50 rescuers in here
And nobody could do
with
anything.
boats and everything. They tried, but it was so dark.
I didn't know if they lost their lives.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We're
I heard there was
praying.
kids hanging on to trees, and then the lady was screaming, and my wife was a little upset when she heard them.
Yeah. Too much of it. Laws, human laws and property laws. We don't know what we're gonna do.
You know, that is crazy to hear stories like that. I mean, again, you have to just get this in your mind that it's the middle of the night out in the woods and you get no warning at all. Just a wall of water from hell, and it just wipes everything clean. That is absolutely crazy. And again, the thing that it just got me because there were so many stories about the terror, the surprise, the hopelessness, the fact that if you just happen to be standing on solid ground and you hearing people screaming and yelling and there ain't nothing you can do. And I saw, again, some of the videos that I saw, I was amazed because they literally had RVs in the trees. I'm like, because we used to seeing floods where it wipes the RV or a tornado and it throws the RV down the road or whatever. But some of the stuff I saw, and some of you probably saw the same thing. Trucks, RVs, cars in the trees, and people in the trees. The trees were literally the filters that the water was running through. People and vehicles were getting caught in the trees as they got washed through the trees. And, you know, I'm tripping because the responses was just so weak. So weak. I'm going to play one more story of tragedy because this man's story got me. You know, it just got me. So I got to play it. And then I'm going to play one of the responses or two of the responses to what went on. Let's listen to this man's story. And this one, and if this one don't get you, nothing will.
Just got washed away, and then a few seconds later, the phone went dead, and that's all we know.
There was a man from Beaumont who we heard just over the ridge here calling out for Joyce Catherine. Joyce Catherine, it's his daughter. He raced here yesterday and has been searching for her. His daughter was here with several friends staying at a cabin just up the river from here, and he has not heard from her, his 21-year-old daughter, since before the storms came through the area. I'm so sorry to meet you like this.
I know. We pray that all four of them are still alive.
All four are missing?
Yes, they're all missing, and you know, it's been 4 o'clock yesterday morning that we were told that, you know, they were on the phone with Aiden's dad, who they own the house where they were. It was a very nice house, no longer there. And Aiden said, hey, you know, I've got to go. I've got to help Ella and Reese. So he gave the phone to Joyce Catherine. Joyce Catherine said, they just got washed away. And then a few seconds later, the phone went dead, and that's all we know. So we presume that she got washed away as well. And if you go back to where the house is, it's not a good sign. And that's why I was telling you, my son and I were walking, and I thought it was a mannequin. It was a little boy, about 8 or 10 years old, and he was dead. So we just...
You saw that this morning?
Yes. So we're just walking and doing the same thing we were doing. Look, when we stumbled across him. But hopefully we can find our children, our daughter and her friends, alive. So anyway, I ask you if you would pray, and whoever watches this thing, pray.
You know what? Could you imagine this man's feelings? This man is literally just out walking, searching for his daughter and her friends. Him and his son. And all they can do is walk and yell out the names and hope and pray. Because there's no word or nothing. And while you're walking, you stumble across a little boy laying there in the brush, dead. I couldn't even imagine it. I couldn't even imagine it. I just, it is amazing. It is amazing. Excuse me a second. I'm trying to find something that I had here. Maybe I didn't include it because I was pretty jacked up when I was putting this together. And I may have not included it. Thought I did, but here's one of the responses to some of this. Oh yeah, Ronnie, I have to go with that because, you know, that's all we can do is pray for them. That's all we can do. But here is the chief official of that county being questioned as to why the place wasn't evacuated when they started getting the warnings earlier in the day. Because they started getting warnings, just plain warnings though, just warnings. Let's hear what he has to say.
Judge, why weren't these camps evacuated yesterday? Texas Department of Emergency Management put out an all-call and said there's going to be a problem. We knew there was going to be a problem. Why weren't these camps evacuated?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Well, you're the judge. I mean, you're the top official here in this county. Why can't you answer that? There are kids missing. These camps were in harm's way. We knew this flood was coming.
We didn't know this flood was coming. Rest assured, no one knew this kind of flood was coming. We have floods all the time. This is the most dangerous river valley in the United States.
I agree.
And we deal with floods on a regular basis. When it rains, we get water. We had no reason to believe that this was going to be anything like what's happened here. None whatsoever.
Now, did you hear him say this is the most dangerous river valley in America? So you know how dangerous it is. You just said it's the most dangerous river valley in America. And you're going to say, we deal with floods all the time. We deal with it all the time. There may be some need for change in how you deal with it, huh? I hate that I did not include the response from Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem flew in. Let me look again just to make sure, because I really did want to include that, and I may have overlooked it by mistake. But Kristi Noem flew in. Here we go, right here. This, I got to let y'all hear Kristi Noem. Listen to Kristi Noem as she talks about this situation. Please pay Kristi Noem attention. It will make you sick when you put what you know to be fact already in your head, and we'll go over it. Put what you know to be a fact and or facts. Listen to what she's telling people who are already upset because they're talking to Kristi Noem and not the president. The president didn't even bother to come. Let's listen to Kristi Noem.
Well, you know, my background is before I was in the secretary position here under the Trump administration, I was governor of South Dakota and served in Congress for 8 years before I was governor. And so I will tell you that for decades, for years, everybody knows that the weather is extremely difficult to predict, but also that the National Weather Service over the years at times has done well, and at times we have all wanted more time and more warning and more alerts and more notification. That is something, and one of the reasons that when President Trump took office, that he said he wanted to fix, and is currently upgrading the technology, and the National Weather Service has indicated that with that and NOAA that we needed to renew this ancient system that has been left in place with the federal government for many, many years, and that is the reforms that are ongoing there. The timeline that I have, I don't oversee the National Weather Service, that's not under my department, but the timeline that I did receive from them was that the notifications started to look at its expansion for its limited flood impacts area that started on July 3rd at 1:18 p.m. The flood watch was issued. Although it was moderate, it wasn't to the extremes that it was, that when the system came over the area that it stalled, it was much more water, much like I think we experienced during Harvey, the same type of system that was unpredictable in the way that it reacted and the way that it stopped right here and dumped unprecedented amounts of rain that caused a flooding event like this. They continue to elevate and up their notifications. You know, when your notification hit your phone, sir, I'm sorry I can't speak to when that is, but I do carry your concerns back to the federal government and to President Trump, and we will do all we can to fix those kinds of things that may have felt like a failure to you and to your community members.
Charles, I'm assuming you meant she learned a lie from Trump. Now, somebody explain to me how you're upgrading the systems when you stripped the funding from the systems and fired the people, laid the people off. I mean, hey, James, hell yeah. Talk about flim-flam. I mean, what upgrades? What upgrades are they doing to the system? How you upgrading the system and getting rid of all the people? And then start off talking about how sometimes, you know, the weather service, you know, if we wish we had more time. Of course we wish we had more time in every weather situation. Of course. And she's going to report back to the president. You know, she's going to fly right back to report to him on the golf course. She's going to run back, hand him a Diet Coke, you know, let him know that, yeah, they was pissed that you didn't come, but, you know, I feel them pretty good, and if they pissed, oh, well. We don't really care that they pissed that you didn't come. How'd your golf day go? You know, how was the golfing? Was the golfing good? That's what's important. Okay, fuck them. Imagine, just imagine if Joe Biden was president and a catastrophe like this happened. And he sent an agency chief in place for the government. Imagine. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. There has to be accountability without accepting accountability. I don't know how to respond to that. This is amazing to me. It is absolutely amazing to me. Like I said, during those California fires, all the Republicans blamed the governor, the mayor, the fire chief and deputy. They blamed DEI. They blamed everything under the sun that they could blame on wildfires. Okay? And I don't hear one peep from the other side. You see it at work? I can imagine. I can imagine. I don't hear one peep. You know, now I've heard the talking heads today talking about it and saying, yeah, the cuts here, the cuts there, you know. I don't see any of the politicians. Now, I know the first thing the Democrats will say is, hey, we don't want to politicize this because of the tragedy involved, the deaths. You know, we still got people missing. Look, fuck that. You know good and damn well what the hell just happened here. And goddamn it, right now is the time to say something about it. Okay? Now is the time to say something about it. Not 2 weeks from now, when ain't nobody thinking about it no more. Now is to say what the hell just happened and whose fault it is. Because we all know what happened. Okay? We all know what happened. They busy not politicizing it. It's too early. It's, you know, we can't play by the Republicans' rules, by the MAGA rules. We have to be cognizant of the feelings of those who have been affected. You keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. While the other side rums that telephone pole right up your ass. Okay? Do you think they gave a damn while all them fires was burning them cities to the ground? People was losing everything. People were dying. Do you think they gave a damn? They didn't give no fuck. Okay? They went out to make you look bad. They went out, and I mean beat the streets to make you look bad. What do we hear from the political Democratic side? Chirp, 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 chirp. Crickets. They ought to be on every show lambasting these fools. They ought to be on every show. They ought to be hanging every single tragic story that's going on over this weekend, all the way up to today, like North Carolina, hanging it around this fool's neck like an albatross. They ought to be hanging it around his neck nonstop 24/7. That's what they ought to be doing. They ought to be laying it right on this fool. Every single story. The reporters that stand in front of him, scared to ask him. You know, they hesitating to even ask, do you think the cuts to NOAA and the Weather Service had anything to do with it? Do you think that? Don't hit me. They ought to be tearing his ass up. I mean, mean, excuse me if I'm wrong. I turned to Fox News. The whole weekend, I turned on Fox News. I didn't stay on Fox because I knew what I was going to see. Nothing. No coverage of this at all. So those that watch Fox all day, every day, don't even know this happened. So when y'all asking or telling me, hey, how come they can listen to this and believe him and all that, they're not hearing it. They're watching Fox all day, and Fox is not covering it. Fox covered everything but that. Now, if they did cover it, it was during the times that I switched off. But I purposely switched back and forth to see what Fox was covering. And I should have ran clips of that. But hey, who needs to see it? What Fox is running. They need to take that and hang that around this fool's neck. They need to take every single bit of this shit and run commercial after commercial showing Kristi Noem at the press conference instead of him. And where was he? Golfing. We know where he was because that's all he does. He don't do shit else. Okay? That's where the fuck he was at. He ain't been doing shit else. Spending our money on golf trips. They need to run clip. They need to get in front of every camera they can get in front of and plaster this shit all over him. Nope. Nope. Oh well. I'm sorry, y'all. Again, this got my blood boiling because look what happened to these people directly because of what this is. We saw during the pandemic where this guy every single day kept saying, oh, the pandemic, it's not a pandemic, it's a Democratic host. It'll be over in a couple of weeks. At least 1 million people on his watch died because of his incompetence. At least 1 million people died, and they still have not dropped that at his doorstep to this day. Every now and then, somebody will say it. Every now and then, you'll hear somebody say it. The first Trump administration dropped the ball, and there was 1 million needless deaths because he would not even acknowledge that it was a real pandemic going on. He spent the first month lying. And here we have this tragedy, and we know it's going to come out that nobody got warned. That's the only thing that happened. There was no warning. Why didn't anybody get evacuated? There was nobody paying any warnings, any attention. The warnings that did come, everybody was like, we good. We good. If it was real bad, it would be some really loud bells and whistles going off. Ain't no bells and whistles going off. I don't hear nothing. Go on, roast them marshmallows and hit the hay. We'll see you in the morning. Anybody tired of winning yet? All this winning is killing us. All this good MAGA winning is killing us. Anyway. Yeah, he wanted yeah, he wanted folks to drink the bleach. Do y'all remember that? Is it something that we could do with that bleach thing, you know, on the inside? You know what? If America didn't realize how stupid this fool is after that, is it something, you know, he was talking to one of his health directors, and the look on her face was like, yeah, you know, we could do something with that bleach thing on the inside. Yeah, right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Sure thing. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, because if I don't, I'm going to be nuts. Wednesday, I'll come back with something else. I'm going to start getting into some really... well, I was finna lie and say I was gonna get into some happy shit, but no, I ain't. I might try and mix some in there. Anyway, hey, I hope everybody make it through this this life we live in. I'm gonna try and make it through a little longer. Thanks for hanging out with me. I might go try some of that bleach. Y'all stay up. I'm gonna get out of here. Take it easy.